Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and this is my archery shop. The owner of Fivix Archery went to SSA Archery on the weekend. So he was there for the Olympics and he went through SSA Archery. Now, SSA Archery distribute archery gear across Europe and I'm going to say across the world. And they've just moved to a new location. So I was interested to see the photos. So I'm going to throw up photos of the SSA structures that he put on Facebook from his post on Facebook. So now what struck me about this is the difference between my business and SSA. And so there's things here that I want to sort of discuss. So obviously 3 levels of office and then obviously a big warehouse, which there's no pictures of. Now I've been to businesses like these before in America when I've gone and visited shops around America. And I'm going to say all the shops I've visited in the past are now out of business, right? So they've gone, I'm going to say gone broke. They went out of business because they weren't making enough money. And that sort of struck me because I think the problem with archery is there's a low margin and then you've got high costs. And I looked at SSA and I'm like, well, that building might be $10 million. And I'm like, how do you fund a $10 million building with low margins and this business that we're in? Now, for me, my business, my staff cost is 10% of my turnover. So if I turn over $100,000, staff's $10,000. If I sell $1 million, that's $100,000 worth of staff. If I sell $3 million, I've got $300,000 worth of staff, right? So basically, whatever, if I'm going to sell another $100,000, it's another $10,000 worth of staff. Okay. Now the problem with that is your margin on wholesale is 10%. So basically, any wholesale order I do, I'm not making any money on because my staff is consuming all that cost. Okay. So I look at SSA, I'm like, how do they afford this business? Because their margins are similar to mine. Okay. Now, what also struck me was the layout of the store, which I want to kind of discuss and get your view of it. Because my shop is a bit like a supermarket, where like there's releases there, and there's arrow rests there, and there's more arrow rests there, and there's strings there, and the arrow bits are up there, and there's sights there, and there's tools there. And there's bows there, and there's sights there, and there's bits everywhere. Okay, so it's a bit like a supermarket to come into, and it's a tin shed. It's a big tin shed, but it's still a tin shed. Some broadheads there, and broadheads back there. Where I see SSA, and it looks like you're going into a corporate art gallery, right? So it looks lovely. It's the place where my former girlfriends would like to go and like to go into for an archery shop. I'm not sure if it's the venue that bow hunters would like to go into. I'm not having a go at bow hunters. But I'm going to say most bow hunters are pretty comfortable to come into a tin shed and grab some broadheads and leave. Okay, they're more than comfortable. They're tradies, and they generally come in with all their tradie gear. Or they're generally dirty, and they've just been working, and they are grabbing some archery gear on the way through. Okay, so that's a lot of my clientele. But it is cold here because there's no insulation because it's a tin shed. It's dusty and dirty, and to insulate this and to heat it would just be crazy. I just couldn't even fathom that. I mean, I can fathom how to put in evaporative cooling. Probably evaporative cooling would cost me, let's say, $50,000. And would I get any more customers in for it for the 2 months where it's relatively warm here? Okay, because I'm next to the beach, so most of the time the temperature is pretty good. To heat the place, that's just crazy, right? Because the air just flows. So I look at SSA and I think to myself, is this the structure I should have as a business? So I could enclose this area here and make pretty displays of target bows, and have some pretty target bows here, and have some pretty hunting bows here with some pictures of people hunting on the wall. And then when you want something, it's out the back in a warehouse on the shelf and the staff goes and gets it. Or maybe you order it online and you come in and you pick it up. And as a result, the display room is really just a display room. So you could order it online and you come in and you pick it up. Just my thought. I always think to myself, how can I improve my business? How can I make it better? How can I make more money? Can I add more stock to make more sales? Can I bring stuff in cheaper and not consume $50,000 on a container going back to China? So I'm always trying to keep my costs down. So like when I bring in stock, I'm like, what's it costing me to bring it in? Is there a cheaper way to bring it in? How can I do things better? And I've been doing it for 40 years, and literally every day this is the stuff I go through. So like yesterday, Australia Post bill came in, it was 10,000. It's normally 5,000 a month. And I'm like, why has it jumped to 10,000? It's because we did something on our shipping system. So we've got to fix that. So I'm $5,000 worse off because we stuffed up our shipping costs. Anyway, I just thought SSA was interesting. I think it's interesting. I've been to at least 80 stores around America, and I've seen them. And most of the stores in America are like a whole bunch of hunting bows on the wall with lots of deer heads on the wall, and some quivers and some hunting stuff around the store. And it's a lot of them will do the wood looks and stuff like that. Which is quite different to, I'll just walk through my store. Now, one of our problems in Australia is like the costs of labour. Little strings there, quivers there, sights back there, lots of bow cases. So in Australia, the cost of labour now is quite high. It's $40 an hour for during the week. So we got like bows, and these are all stabilizers. Like there's a whole wall. This whole wall is just stabilizers. I didn't see stabilizers like that when I went to America, but I've lost train of thought. It's like, how do I make things better? How do I improve it? Gloves, like the amount of gloves, or gloves, bows. Now this is fair weather here. This whole wall is all fair weather stuff, right? Fair weather is made in South Australia. It's 20 minutes from my store where this is made. I pay for the stuff, and in about 10 weeks later, I get it. It's quicker for me to get fair weather from Europe than get it from Australia, even though it's 20 minutes up the road, which just to me is crazy. But anyway. And by the way, it costs the same price. It's the same price for me to buy it in Europe as it is to buy it in Australia, even though it's 20 minutes up the road. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, that's the things I think about with running the shop. How do you make it better? How do you improve stuff? How do you make a better experience for the customer? Bearing in mind, a customer would be like, well, I want to come try all the bows. Well, you can't do that because I'm forking out $40 an hour in wages. It takes 2 hours to set up a bow, and you might be making $20, $30 a bow when you sell it. So, these are things you've got to think about when running a business. But I wanted to show SSA because it gave me food for thought as a very different business model than I've seen before in businesses as far as archery. And it is a model I have considered, and I even do consider it here, and whether I open up another store just to be a display center and then have this as a warehouse. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave you with that. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.